Hey guys, hope you're doing amazing tonight. I'm really excited about this one. Talking to Josh from Mountain Roots, and we have. I've been so. Hold on. Oh my God. Yeah. I left my YouTube open, so all of a sudden I'm hearing myself in an echo. So I'm trying to talk to you guys, and I'm hearing myself. It's not going well, but I just fixed that, so we're all good. All ready to go. So yeah, we've got Josh from Mountain Roots. He's down in Virginia, and we've gotten along and hit it off. And really great guy, a lot of knowledge as well. So I'm gonna pick his brain, and if you guys have any questions, definitely put question or put it something in capitals, and so we can see it. And I'll probably get chatting and try to notice the comments and questions, but we might get caught up in some stuff. So I want to apologize up front if I don't see everything and I miss some stuff. Van City Prepper, hello. Louis, welcome. Paul Andre. Uh, who else was in here? I thought I saw some others. No, that's it. That's it right now. So thank you guys for coming. Appreciate it a lot. Tractor Talk, Gary, welcome. Good to see you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring Josh up right now, and we'll kind of get going into it. Hey, Gardener Josh, welcome as well. Jeannie, how's it going? Josh, you said you're doing good tonight.
Yeah.
You said you've already got a drink going, which is good. I've got one going too.
Drink here. Cheers.
Skål. I hope everyone's got a drink. Sean in Alaska. So Josh, everyone might already know you, but if they don't, why don't you just explain what you got going on down south there?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah. So we're here in Virginia. My family's been here, gosh, since early 1700s, and about 10 or 12 years ago. Hold on just one second. Can you guys hear that? I'm so sorry. I'm in the room with the border collie puppies, so I may have to step away in just a second if that gets too loud. Sorry about that. But yeah, we're down in Virginia.
Always grab one and show it off.
Yeah,
everybody loves puppies, right?
Yeah, man. Get those cute little balls of fluff over here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we're in Virginia, and we started about, I want to say it was about 2012. We decided that we really wanted to kind of make a go at the time. In my mind, I didn't really differentiate like small family farming. Think Joel Salatin. I didn't really differentiate that with just homesteading, as I kind of knew it, life in the country. So we wanted that, and we kind of went after it all in. Walked away from the job that I had. And yeah, we just kind of dove in. And so we've been kind of doing this thing full time here. We found a little over 100 and some acres in Virginia, in the Highland, it's like the Western Highland shelf of Virginia as it steps up into West Virginia. Yeah. So yeah, man.
Did a little searching and noticed that the small town that you guys are close by to, you guys don't even have traffic lights, right? You got like a population of like 100 or something.
Yeah, man. The actual little town is about 100 people there.
That's awesome.
The county is one of the largest by square miles. It might be second to Augusta. I'm not quite sure, but we're really close. And I think, one of the least populated. I think the entire county has less than 5,000 people in it.
Jeez.
So, yeah, I'm really, really happy about that.
Yeah.
But, like the old saying was, if you can see smoke from your neighbor's house, it's already getting too crowded. And I can definitely see smoke from the neighbors, but I don't plan on moving anytime soon. So,
how many acres you have, though? You said you got over 100?
Yeah, it's probably close to 120 or so.
That's a good size.
Yeah, it's all I can do to manage it right now.
Yeah.
Kids are all still pretty young, so it's not a lot of brawn and muscle there to help. But but yeah, it's a good chunk of land to do a lot with.
Nice, nice. And the
Yeah.
kids seem to be interested too in doing everything with you. I always see them helping in the videos. So
Yeah. Yeah, they like being out here, man. They really do.
nice.
There's some days it's hard to get them out of the house, but for the most part, man, they love being outside. Just take off, no shoes, just let's go. So
Done.
I
Yeah.
think that's how childhood should be, or as much as possible. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
remember before this years ago, I managed a horse farm, and it was 55
nice.
acres. And I was there for 13 years, raised basically three daughters and a son there, and then moved. But
Mm.
when you say that, the kids running around, my one daughter, I'd be down working on the tractor or something, and I'd see my one daughter come running across the field in a diaper with a bottle hanging out of her mouth. And just like, you know, it just, and it's so good for kids to be able to do that, just run free and do what they
Yeah,
want to do. So,
yeah, for sure, man. What
yeah,
kind of horses were they at the
it
horse
was,
farm?
well, it was like a mix. So it was,
Yeah.
you basically, you know, uh, basically a boarding farm. So we
I
had
gotcha. Yeah.
dressage, we had jumpers, we had hunters,
Oh, wow.
mix of like ponies, Clydes, Dutch warm bloods,
Oh,
the
wow.
the
Wow.
whole work. So yeah, a bit of
Yeah.
everything. 36
Man,
of them
that's
in
crazy.
total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when my
So
wife and I, when we first got married, we lived on a horse farm, but it was mainly like saddlebred horses.
okay. Yeah.
Um, she was kind of really into that at the time. So yeah, we lived there a few years. So yeah, been on or around the farm. I've been doing that most of my adult life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just awesome. And you've got so many hobbies too. Like we were saying, you do your overlanding as well.
Yeah.
And how much time do you actually spend going out camping and driving and that sort of stuff? Is that take away from the homestead a bit, do you think? Or
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I mean, now that it got a little bit colder, I don't do it as much. Um, but there is kind of some caveats there. Uh, I like to just get out and ride these old logging trails, Forest Service roads, and just see where they go. And so it doesn't always end in a camping trip, but I do like to get out and just explore. Not quite to the point of necessarily, all-wheel drive or like four-wheel drive, mud bogging and that type of thing. My truck's just not not set up for
and that's
that.
the thing. I think when a lot of people, when you say overlanding, you know,
Yeah,
they don't understand it compared to say off-roading or,
right,
there's a big difference between that kind of stuff and I want to say busting up your truck.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. I think that overlanding is the $10 word for just it's some kind of adventure travel. I know that there's all these gatekeepers for words out here. uh,
We already talked about the homestead,
yes,
what
yes, we
falls
did.
into that category.
Right. Right. So it's truck camping. It's going and seeing the countryside, maybe going on an extended road trip or something. I think that, true overlanding like 100 plus years ago. I mean, that was you were talking about crossing some country and being away for a month or more at a time. Um, so so yeah, I mean, we don't get to do that much. My wife is really again into horses, so we've
Takes
started
a
to
lot
look
of
at.
time.
Yeah, lots of time. And honestly, I think our kind of take on overlanding, at least the direction we'd like to go, is bring the horses along more,
Okay. Yeah.
and going camping with the rooftop tent set up, on the truck, and going trail riding on horseback more so than taking the vehicles out and about through nature. Because you miss
Nice.
you miss some things that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Just want to quickly say hello to Sunny's Place, Me and You Acres, Simply Jan Homestead, Plowman's Backyard, Urban Homesteading Channel, Frank Short, blind guy, his wife, their life. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Really appreciate that. So there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of questions right from there I could go into, like, taking your horses out overlanding. Um, would you then further take the horses out from a ride from there? Would and then Virginia, like I said, you guys have like a population of 100 in this small town. So do you have a lot of spots to go overlanding? I would assume so. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. There's a lot of, I guess you may call backcountry or,
yeah,
federal land. Unfortunately, we call it federal land, but,
yeah, yeah,
national forest, that type of thing. So there's tons and tons of trails to go on, thousands of miles worth, just right here, and if we wanted to extend it and go towards Tennessee, the Cumberland Gap, there's all kinds of places throughout Southern Appalachia, man, that you could just get lost for days. So we wouldn't necessarily have to go all the way to the Rockies or anywhere like that. And, doing that kind of backcountry, all that would be awesome. I mean, that would
nice.
be like, way up there on the bucket list.
Yeah.
But yeah, plenty of places to explore right here in our backyard, so to speak.
Nice. So, a couple questions, like the questions I want to pick your brain on is just like, I've got so many. One, so obviously being from Virginia and Appalachia, do you do any essential oils down there?
Essential oils,
Some backwoods,
like these kind of oils.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There's we still get our corn from a jar. So
nice. Awesome.
That's that's actually, there's a lot of history to that.
Yeah.
Getting our corn from a jar. These old hills and hollers. I mean, these folks couldn't make it down to market, so they had to do something with the little bit of crops that they could grow back in the day. And the best return on their investment was to turn that into some liquor, some moonshine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, man, that goes way back in the in the family history, mine and a lot of families around here. So
yeah.
it's big business. I mean, when you get into some places, again, mentioning the Smokies there, if you go into the kind of tourist trap area of Gatlinburg, I mean, there's a moonshine distillery on every corner, if you want to source it that way.
Oh yeah. It's one of those branding things now. I find we go into the liquor store now and it's like, bottles labeled moonshine and all that, but it's like, 25% and it's, legally done. So it's like,
right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Might as well drink some water.
Yeah, exactly. So
good old Mountain Dew, I see somebody said.
Hugo Homestead, welcome. Ren's Homestead, welcome as well. Glad you guys could make it. What would you rather talk about, like homesteading stuff, or do you want to get into how you set your truck up for overlanding, or like some history
good with
stuff? Like you're kind of good on history stuff too, eh?
All over the board, I guess.
Exactly.
Well, I know you did that video recently. I thought it was really good on the like the preps you've got in your truck. And man, that really got me thinking. I really like how you carry an extra tent, with you in case you don't want to hunker down in your truck, or maybe, you're going away from the truck and using truck as your base camp. Man, that's really smart. I've got the rooftop tent that opens up on my truck. But if we were in a jam or in a situation I couldn't get it open or didn't want to for reasons,
or had to leave the truck, or
exactly had to leave the truck. I don't know. It just got me thinking, maybe I should have an extra. I mean, I could do like with paracord and some other things and whip up a primitive, shelter of sorts, but an actual nice little extra tent. I thought that was that's pretty smart, man. I like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. We can talk whatever you want to talk, or what these folks want to hear. Or I'm here for the conversation.
Exactly. So guys, like I said, anyone listening, if you have any questions at all, throw it in capitals or put question and then write your question out. It's all good. So it's funny because I was always wanting, I'd like to say, kind of get into overlanding. I did it a little bit in the sense that, I got out into some back roads and found some
Mm-hmm.
places because I used to kayak a lot. So I'd try
Nice.
and find some spots where, no one had been. I could throw the kayak in and paddle quietly, do that kind of stuff. And one of my big problems was, I wanted to go out camping as well at the same time, but did I run a cap or
Mm-hmm.
did, how do you put a rooftop tent? How do you add kayaks? How do you add gear that you want to all at the same time? It never fit right on my truck. So the one thing I never actually got set up was the rooftop tent. I always carried my
Yeah.
kayaks on the roof instead. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, man, I hear you. I've seen a bunch of different configurations, that folks use. Um, and they've got even these ones now. They're real simple. Like they're not really a rooftop tent. It doesn't have like a permanent bed rack or anything set up like mine. It just literally slides into the bed of your truck. Like it springs
oh,
up,
nice.
and
Okay.
just slides in. So, a few extra steps, but I mean, for a couple $100, it's not a bad way to go, and you don't have to
Yeah.
leave it on your
Yeah.
truck all the time. It's easy to take on and off.
Nice.
So, I guess you could always mount the kayaks maybe on the side of your bed rack if you had a tall enough bed rack, or just, if you want all the extra like stuff in tow, have like a little adventure trailer that you rig up or something.
That would be the ideal situation, I think, when I was doing that is, have a trailer that had the tent on the top, had the cook stove and everything pull out from the trailer. I could
Yeah.
store my extra fuel and stuff in the trailer as well. So it kind of acted like your base camp. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that is a pretty sweet setup. That's the one drawback too, if you're gonna have a rooftop tent on your vehicle or on your truck, because anytime you want to head out from camp, you've got to pack it all up, got to break it all back down. And so having it on a trailer, I mean, you could just park the trailer and then go on, you
Go
know.
with the truck. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if you're taking a horse trailer for your horses,
Yeah.
then, you know, you can leave with the horses and go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd say, with the horse trailer, man, we could probably put some kayaks up there. It's long enough.
You could, yeah, you could do it right up. Put a rail,
Oh yeah.
put a rack on the top of the horse
Yeah.
trailer. You're good to go.
Some of those trailers, not ours, but some of the like horse trailers, they have pretty nice living quarters inside of them.
Oh man, some
But
of those are
we
done right up.
yeah, man, it's like
Yeah.
a real nice fifth wheel almost that you're pulling in tow.
Yep.
Yeah, not ours. It's got a tack room. That's about it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I always wanted one when I was working on the horse farm. It would have been so nice for some of the trips, taking the horses to some of the shows and that sort of stuff. I was always
yeah,
driving them. So having
yeah,
somewhere where I could just hang out and chill and relax in between driving or in between stuff, it would be great. So,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So the other thing too is you do a ton of veggies, growing so much
Mm-hmm.
stuff, except you had the incident with the high tunnel. That is
Yeah,
brutal, dude.
yeah. It's gonna, I guess, put us a little bit behind this growing season. Because by now we're already doing stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so I don't know. I just put in the deposit of what I got 25% down on that repair bill. So
Yeah.
I think they said that it's 4 to 6 weeks roughly from like yesterday. So that's
That's not too bad considering
yeah.
everything else right now. You can't find stuff, you can't get stuff.
I know, man. I know. So hopefully, fingers crossed, like none of their crew gets sick anymore, and we don't have a ton more snow to slow them down, because there are jobs ahead of mine um, before they can get out here. So, but I mean, even if we don't get it up till mid March, that'll still be okay. I mean, we'll not be as far ahead as we would have normally been, but it certainly helps us beat our late frost,
Okay. So it
which
still gives
is
you a bit of a head start anyway.
yeah, because we can set frost, mid to late May here in our neck of the woods. So it'll
Nice.
it'll still help a little bit, extend that season.
Nice. Just want
Yeah.
to say hello to a couple more people.
Yeah, man.
Shadow Scout Swede just came in. Mallory at Quebec's Homestead. Welcome. S. Colorado Steader. Who else did I see? Honey Badger's Homestead. Welcome. Hoping I didn't miss anyone.
I see Van City gave you a nice super sticker there, man.
I just noticed that now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. That's pretty cool. I like, woo, that's neat.
Pretty neat.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. That's pretty wild. Cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty good that you don't lose too much time, but it puts you a bit behind. So
Yeah. Yeah. We I think this last season, man, I'll have to go back and look at my numbers, but I think this last season we scaled back a little bit, mainly on the tomato plant. So we still had a little over 100 and I can't remember 120 some plants in there. Mostly all just some heirlooms, that we keep and grow.
nice.
Yeah.
But you're still doing the garden outside the greenhouse as well, because you had that green.
Yeah.
What did they call it?
It's like a hardscape fabric. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a landscape fabric. Yep. Yep. So we mainly did a lot of pumpkins, and what else did we do? We did like a lot of sunflowers and some peas. Can't remember how she had that configured this last season because it was all we had to move everything around.
Did you actually eat the pumpkins, or did you just shoot them all?
Well, we shot a bunch of them, but yeah, we did. We ate some of them and decorated with others, gave some away. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Oh
yeah,
man. Cool. And I was noticing too, you guys have the frost-free water, I want to say taps. The Did you guys set those up? Was it easy to do? Was it hard to do?
Yeah. So yes and yes. Well, okay. So many years back, we did hire a guy to do a lot of the backhoe work and stuff. I just didn't have a backhoe at the time, and we had him do a lot of that work. I have now had to replace the same hydrant twice, and I don't know what it is about this one location. But these things should last a long time, and I'm not really sure. Because the first time I had to replace it, I was replacing work he had done. But I can't blame him now because the replacement I put in is now also showing some kind of damage. When you raise up the handle, there's water that comes up out of the top of the blue. I'm pulling a blank here. The handle mechanism, but anyway, but no, in general, I don't think it's if you don't have a backhoe, yes, it's going to be a lot of labor intensive digging, to install those things. And you want to get your rock bed and everything correct so that the water drains down at the bottom, the weep hole that's in the ground. And I'm not sure the depth of your frost line, wherever, folks are, but I think we had to put ours down it's pretty close to 3 feet. I want to say is how far down we've got.
Okay.
The bottom.
Hey, Mal, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. That's crazy awesome. Yeah, if you got a call, that's all good. Thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate that, eh? And I also saw Big Bear Prepper came in, and Urban White Buffalo Farm came in as well. Glad to have you guys here. Yeah, so we're thinking about putting in those frost-free hydrants as well.
Yeah.
Just to make it easier to water our cows and everything else, but we're on sand, so I'm thinking we can almost do it just with the bucket of the tractor.
Yeah, you should have some easy digging. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be too hard.
No.
But well worth it, man. Very convenient.
Yeah. Nice.
Man, when we first started, we had a spring that was tapped on the other side of our farm, and I was filling totes, like water IBC totes and things like
Oh,
that, and trying
yeah.
to take it around and fighting the freeze, and uh that's labor intensive, man, to tote water everywhere. So it's been huge just to have the water infrastructure laid out, for the past many years now. Because we
Nice.
pretty much have it spread across all the farm. We even have these like quick connect couplers that are in the ground.
Okay.
So we have like a 6-inch threaded cap right at the ground, and you can take that off, and then you have to reach your arm in there. And we've got these I don't have one in here with me, but anyway, you push it down in there, and it immediately pressurizes that hose. So if you want to run a hose and you're doing like rotational grazing, or let's say
Oh,
you're building
nice.
a paddock just out in the middle of a field and you don't really have it permanently fenced, but maybe you're running some um, you know high tensile wire or electric tape or something, we can just jam one of those in the ground and take it over to like a 100-gallon tank, with a uh, now I'm drawing another blank. I'm sorry. A float valve. There we go. A float on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a float. Yeah. So those are handy too. Those are very handy.
Nice.
So when you're installing your water lines under the ground, you may want to think about putting, a couple of those every so often, depending on how your fields are set up.
Yeah.
Makes it easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what do you have for animals now? I know you
Yeah,
still
man.
have the horses. Yeah.
Yep. Got the horses.
Yeah.
We got laying hens right now.
Okay.
And we are, for the past few seasons now, we've done some micro grazing with a few head of cattle right around our house.
Right.
I think I did a video on that a year or so back, just the few that we keep right around the house. But we have been leasing our broad acreage pastures for several seasons, and
Okay.
at the end of March, I think, around there, they're going to be going off the farm, and we're going to slowly start to kind of get things in position for us to bring more of our herd back. And we typically had red Devon cattle, and we'll probably just run stalkers. We've done both stalkers and cow calf in the past, but I think for our time allocation right now, stalkers are about all we can handle
Yeah.
to bring back on, in any number. And
Right.
I think we may be getting some pigs here this spring. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll be re-adding, something. And we typically always do a few batches of broilers
Yep.
on pasture, butcher those for ourselves and family, and sometimes, friends or neighbors.
How many do you usually do?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. So I think this last season we probably did, in total, was it 2 batches of 75
Okay.
roughly? Yeah. Somewhere around there. I mean, I know when we first started, we were doing like a batch of 300, and we would do that like on a rotating 8 to 10 week, 8 to 12 week turnaround. And we just did that starting in March, and we went till it got really cold.
And you
And
obviously you would sell those, right?
oh yeah, we were
Yeah.
doing like farmers markets, and we were
Okay.
doing like pre-orders and that kind of thing.
Because I was gonna
Yeah,
say that'd be eating a lot of chicken.
that's a whole lot of chicken. Yeah, man.
Because we
So,
did 40 of the just meat chickens, and then I think we did, I want to say it was like 7 to 9 of our dual purpose. So
mhm.
got those put in the freezer for the year, and that so far we seem to be okay.
Yeah,
So
nice. Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, we we typically will stick with the I mean, we've tried a number of breeds, but we kind of defaulted to the Cornish cross. It seems like the last few times that we've done them recently, they're the easiest for us to get, and I mean, they just within 8 weeks they're good to go.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes it easy.
yeah, I know some folks, they'll claim they can taste differences in the different uh like a Freedom Ranger or a Cornish Cross. Maybe one has a little bit more dark meat. I'm not real sure, but
Yeah.
I do know that they're a little quicker. It seemed like the Cornish Cross than most of the others that we've tried anyway.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
find with ours, with the Chanticleer, which is the dual purpose, doing those from the meat birds, I can't tell the difference. Maybe I seasoned them too much with something, or
Yeah.
got them
Yeah.
with something else, but it still tastes like chicken to me.
Yep. Tastes like chicken. At the end
Exactly.
of the day, that's what it
Exactly.
tastes like.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
just want to say hey to Rem's Family Farm, Where to Begin Homestead, Rhett Sam TV, MB Heritage, Sisaboo Acres. Welcome, guys. Glad you guys could join us. I noticed Ren's Homestead had made a comment about their frost-free pipe. Had to bring
Okay.
in a bunch of sand, cover it up.
That's
And
interesting.
I noticed that I was just watching one of the installations, and it's like they've got that little valve at the bottom, so you want to make
Right.
sure that doesn't fill up with sand and other gunk.
Yeah.
Which,
We just put, I'm pretty sure, like a bed of is it 57s? I don't know if the numbers carry over to where you are, but not enormous gravel, but maybe about that size.
yep.
And we filled it up with that. I think that's all we did. I don't think we had to do any sand, but I
So like,
certainly wouldn't just throw dirt back in there because that
no,
could
no.
freeze, the water and stuff. You want it to be able
Looks
to
like it would
drain.
be like 1 inch clear, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But you don't want it to, you want it to be able to drain for sure because it's
Yeah.
gonna, water's gonna go down there.
Yeah. Hey, Mulberry Branch. Glad you guys could join us.
Let's see.
Do either of you quarter your chickens when you butcher them?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you do yours whole, or do you cut them up, or what? How do you do?
Yeah, I think this last season we ended up mainly just whole bagging everything, with the shrink bags and
Yeah.
just throw them in the freezer. But there's been many a times though that we'll maybe either quarter them or take out the tenderloins and the breasts, that kind of thing, and have a few cuts available.
Okay.
So that if that's all you want for dinner, you're not having to do the whole bird.
Yeah, that's what we did with ours. We cut all ours up instead of
Hmm.
bagging it whole. So that way we have the breasts available, we've got the legs available,
Right.
and we can kind of pick and choose what we want to do. We find that, usually we do like a butter chicken or a stir fry, or we'll throw the legs in kind of the crock pot and let them go all day. So
Hmm.
it's much easier for us to do it that way than do a whole chicken at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. So, what were they saying they were wanting to do on theirs? They said way
Um,
overestimated. Okay. I just didn't catch that second part. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to
yeah. We
break up the
find,
chicken with other options.
yeah, we found that our Chanticleers, we didn't let them get as big as they needed to. We were
Mm,
kind of just wanting to get rid of the roosters instead of letting them get up to a good size.
right.
So ours were smaller than the meat chickens,
Mm.
but still good eating. So
Roughly
yeah.
how? I mean, I don't believe I've done that breed. What? I mean, time frame. Like, kind of how long does it take to get them to maybe a 5 pound finishing weight or something?
I want to say for our Chanticleers, it's if you're looking at 5 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably looking at like the full summer, like spring to
Mm-hmm.
fall kind of thing,
Okay.
maybe longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
it depends on, I guess, who they're with, who they're around, how much they're eating, because we found
Right.
that our main rooster is a lot bigger than the other roosters would get.
Mm.
Hey, Hickory Croft Farm. Glad you could join us. I don't know if you just heard that last question, but Josh was just asking about the Chanticleers and how long it would take them normally to get up to about the 5 pound weight for butchering. And for us, I want to say it was like basically spring to winter. It was like
Mm.
the full time to get them up to that weight. But uh, they do a lot more Chanticleers than we do. We're still building up our flock, and they've
Yeah.
got a whole bunch that are nice. And they're great dual purpose bird, awesome in the cold weather. So it's really nice that way.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to tempt fate too much with a Cornish cross in the cold winters or anything. Man, they poor things.
Oh
they
man.
just they are bred to die. So
Yeah, exactly. I like doing them just because we get all that chicken in the freezer at once. We try and we're trying to build up more of our Chanticleer so we have more of a sustainable chicken flock.
sure.
So right now both of them are working great for us, but if we can get off the meat chickens, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's awesome that you can have them for like 6 weeks and then put all that meat in the freezer. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So usually butcher about 20 weeks old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
20 weeks. Wow. Yeah, again, I think that most of your like Cornish crossbreeds, they would go into heart failure well before 20 weeks.
They'd be done. Yeah.
Yeah. They
Broken
just wouldn't make
legs,
it. Yeah.
heart
It'd be bad.
failures. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to even try, man. That would just be torture.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Emma, we've always bagged our chickens whole and planned the menu for the week around one chicken. Okay.
Nice. Well, I mean that
Yeah.
cuts down on the processing labor, you know.
It
It's already a long day or weekend. So,
it's funny you
you
say
know.
that because I find for us, depending on your setup, sometimes processing a whole chicken is a bit, I guess it depends how you do it, because when we
Mhm.
do it, we don't pluck them at all. So we just open them
Mm.
up, take out the breast, take off the legs, and usually we find the wings aren't good enough to keep. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
and
that's pretty smart. I mean,
that goes
that
pretty
cuts down.
quick.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Well, you're cutting out a lot of steps there, you know.
yeah. You don't have to gut them. You don't have to pluck them. You don't have to drop them in the
Right.
water and that sort of thing. So yeah.
Chicken.
Avian flu. Haven't heard anything in our area at all. So hopefully it's not a issue.
Yeah. Not in these mountains anyway.
No, that's good. You're pretty free and clear from most other folks, and
Yeah.
away from. It's not like you're built up really with a lot of animals in the same area, eh?
No, if we were further up Shenandoah, kind of where they had the HOA in Virginia, going up that way, there's a lot more of your like poultry farms, the big, houses that have I don't know how many thousands of birds they cram into those
Yeah,
places. Yeah, I mean that may be more of a concern at facilities like that, but not up here, not in the mountains.
nice. What did I? There it was.
And there you go.
Yeah, -25 in the winters.
Hmm.
Oh
Well, there you
wow,
go.
that's
Are
awesome.
you? I mean, I'm assuming you're keeping them in some kind of a building or some kind of structure or something. I mean, how do you
I'm
how do you
not
pull that
sure.
off? Because I mean, I
Yeah,
only like I said, I only raise them on on grass while we have it, and I'm just kind of curious. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty wild.
That's one thing I'd really like is a nice barn, so I can stick everything in the barn, keep the water thaw
Yeah,
instead of frozen. All the animals can like heat it with themselves. And then with the goats
yeah,
we want to get in the spring, then we have somewhere to milk them as well and stuff. So
yeah, yeah.
I have to
It's
get that
nice,
set
man. To
up.
have just working facilities are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Want to do we'll probably do basically pole barn, stick it in, do it that
yeah.
way. And I saw your pole barn to shed or shed to home. Well, no, what was it? Shed to pole
Yes,
barn
the shed to house.
house
Well, I was comparing them.
shed.
Yeah, comparing them. Yeah,
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 yeah, exactly. But yeah, I find doing some pole barns and doing that style is so much easier, faster. It's great.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It typically will be a lot quicker, to do that.
Yeah.
Um, I eventually want to do one too, and it'll be kind of a hub for running livestock through as needed, but also just keeping extra hay and doing things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So outside running even in winter. Our chicken house is
Wow,
just in a that's awesome. That's good
that
to
is
know.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can only order ours like we just I think it was like 2 weeks ago we just placed our order for ours for 40 of
Oh,
them.
okay.
So they only do it like once a year. Here you go. You want them? Yes or no?
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, nice. I don't know if you've seen it. It was oh now I can't remember. It's I want to say the show is on like Discovery or something like that. But it's these guys that go and basically find old barns and revamp them and rebuild them. And it's crazy awesome. And the history
Hmm.
behind some of those barns, the
Oh,
one
yeah.
they took down and they turned it into a actually working mill. So
Oh,
they
awesome.
took down the old barn, made it into a working mill. The one was another one. It was like a Dutch barn, a bank barn, and then they took it down and made it into like boathouse for a rowing team. It
Very
was
cool.
pretty neat. It was pretty
Huh.
cool.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah, I'll check that out.
yeah,
Somebody said barn builders. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that could be it. And I think it was on that show. I saw one where they go through some of these old buildings and old stuff, and there's so many well preserved ones down in the US. And
Hmm.
it wasn't a regular log home where they do everything horizontal, but it was one where it was a pole barn, but everything was vertical.
Hmm.
So they did it looked basically like a regular log home, but they just put everything vertical instead of horizontal. But it was I want to say it's down your ways
Hmm.
somewhere where they said, they could stick the wood in the mud and that would seal up. There'd be no oxygen, so the wood couldn't rot. So it would
Hmm.
just preserve the wood that way. So there'd be no way that building could fall down. But there was only like three of those in the state or something like that that were
Oh,
still
wow.
standing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of, all through these parts. There's so many abandoned old homesteads and, home places and, uh, structures that are probably at least 150 to 170 years old in that time frame. Kills me just to see them, going into such disrepair. So I love the sound of that, getting in there and repurposing some of
Yeah.
those structures, man. That's awesome.
Some of the things they've done with them are just it's so good to see something being
Yeah.
taken from, disrepair and old and fallen down into this new
Right.
amazing building too. And they do it a real justice as well. It's not like it's like, you know, somewhere in the city where they build this.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Some museum piece.
Exactly. So Diggs was saying the barn we used to keep our horse in before built our
Oh,
own was
wow.
built in the 1770s. That's wild. That's so
Yeah, that
cool to see
is.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Hey, Rem's Family Farm. Remy, if you're still here, have a great night, eh? Take care and thanks for dropping in. Ah, yeah, that sounds right. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, those guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I remember those, in fact, because when I was running my sawmill business, this is going back to about 2016. um I was wanting to do something, and I think I'd made contact with them or something about a project. So yeah, now that you brought up the location, it's coming back to
Yeah.
me.
Nice. Sisaboo Acres, they're out east here in Canada. But what part of how close are you to Galax? Galax?
Oh yeah, Galax. All right, cool. So
Galax?
I'm about, yeah, Galax. I am maybe as the crow flies, probably an hour and a half, give or take. One of my childhood friends grew up down in Galax, so yeah, not
Nice.
too far, just a little bit further north, up 77 to 81, just outside Roanoke area.
Sweet. There's a lot of history in that area too, eh?
Oh
Especially
yeah,
like you were saying, your family has grown up in the area.
yep,
Um, a lot of stuff happening there. And but you were also saying there's a lot of bias and that kind of thing against basically anyone from the South, eh?
yeah,
You said you had a
yeah.
tough time growing up and
Yeah, well, I mean, it's I think it's kind of just a running joke, that just in popular culture, through yellow
right.
journalism and different things like that. If you speak with an accent or something like that, you must be ignorant, you must be dumb, you must be some kind of hick. If you don't sound like a certain accent, you obviously don't fit in. That was just really pronounced to me when I spent a little bit of time up north, like I said, in going near like Baltimore area. A lot of those guys were from even further north, so there was a real stark contrast in the way that I spoke and how they did. And man, did it ever come to light then. So I just never paid attention to it before. That's just how I spoke. But yeah, they definitely kind of rub it in. So, but hey, it seems like most folks, when they retire, they say, I want to head down south. So I think the South's a
Exactly.
great place to be.
Exactly, eh? Yeah. It was so funny. Last week, a couple weeks ago, went down into the city with work, and we were meeting
Hmm.
a new supplier, and I was being introduced and all that. So my boss said, this is Darren. He comes from Ontario, now here in Quebec. I was like, yeah, salut, ça va, all that. And I said, sorry, like, I'm still trying to learn French. I've been here since like 2017, and my French is still horrible. And I, it's funny because I was, I think I've been trying hard to learn it. And I want to say I have an issue with kind of learning that stuff. Because then I was like, okay, maybe it's just French. Maybe I'll try and learn Icelandic or Norwegian since, I got that family history. I'll work on learning that.
Yeah.
No, I was like, you know, but, so I said, I'm still working on my French and all that. And he says, so where are you? And I said, up in Saint Ramon. He's like, Saint Ramon, you moved there from Ontario and you don't speak any French? It's like, I've got two buddies there and it's like redneck, um, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hickville sort of thing. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's why I moved there. Like I fit right in.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
but
But
you did.
oh,
You
go
went
ahead, go ahead.
to what, college, university? You got your law degree. You did some other
Oh,
stuff too, right?
yeah, man, I never actually no, I didn't do I got accepted into a law school,
Okay.
and that was in the long road of what I thought was going to be, an academic career. And that actually kind of wound down just before we dove in uh head first here on buying the property. No, I'd finished like a business degree, and then I was working on an MBA, and I was also accepted into a few programs. One was actually in Scotland, and
Nice.
I was gonna go over there, and it was like a track to ultimately get a PhD in like classical history and literature, so like Greco-Roman kind
Oh,
of
geez.
stuff. But man, it was we had just had our first kid at the time, and just trying to figure out all those dynamics. Do we want to move overseas? Will he ever see his grandparents? Just all these things. And so
Yeah.
but it was also right around that time we really were looking hard at, again, at the time I didn't really call it homesteading, just family farming or, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we made the decision to forego that. And then in the last, decade or so, I was accepted into another law school because at one point I was eyeballing that.
Yeah.
And again, actually recently it kind of came back on my radar, but I've kind of just said, nah, I'm done. I'm done with that whole system. I'm done. So yeah, for now it's just the homestead, and I've got a small business too, an insurance agency. So that's kind of what I'm doing
Nice.
as far as that goes. Yeah.
So, do you guys both work full time and homestead, or do one of you just work there, or are you working from home now, or
Yeah,
how are
man.
you managing it?
Yeah, we both mainly work from home. Every now and then I may go out for an appointment or something, but as I get more agents involved with the agency, and really I just feel like I'm more of a team builder. I'm just trying to facilitate other agents and brokers build their own agencies essentially. And as long as I can add value to that, and offer some coaching or training or whatever, um and build those relationships, make them successful, then there's value added there, and my agency can grow too. So that's
Nice.
kind of how that works. My wife's helping me more in the business. She wants to help even more. But she does a lot with educating our kids, and kind of keeping the wheels turning on this place too around the
Nice.
homestead.
Nice.
So yeah, man, we're both here most of the time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Redbird Farm, welcome. Glad to see you. Glad you could join us. Emma says, doesn't think your accent is that southern.
Yeah, it's probably toned down a little bit, um, but it comes out, especially when I get around, my East Tennessee friends and family. So Southwest Virginia and East Tennessee. But you're right. You're right. You get in the deep South, and it's a whole different level of Southern. Touche.
It it's funny because it changes too. Because I used to go
Yeah.
down to Pooler, Georgia, just outside of
Hmm.
Savannah all the time. And what I found is, I'd usually go down for a week and spend it there with suppliers. And I found my accent would start, I'd start falling into that whole,
Yeah.
y'all, how y'all
Y'all.
doing
Yeah.
today? And yeah, but we used to go to trade shows and that sort of thing. And it would kind of throw people off as like, how y'all doing, eh? And it was like, hey, and a y'all.
Hey.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
what the hell's that? You know?
Southern Canadian.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But it's interesting to see people's accents always change when the more they hang around someone with something that's
Right.
completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's pretty fascinating.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I'm way behind on the comments there. I didn't even have that thing scrolled down myself.
Yeah, I'm so bad sometimes with comments and stuff. I miss stuff, and yeah,
Yeah, Huntington got family up in that area too.
Nice. Plumman's Backyard. Take care. Hope you have a great night. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for dropping by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mike and Angie are up here in Canada. Angie's Canadian and Mike's American. Yeah. So I noticed the other thing too is you actually went and camped at a KOA.
Yeah.
Was it only
Yeah.
one you did, or is it like now you've started checking them out and stuff?
Yeah, so I've looked at a few of them. There's a real nice one there in Gatlinburg. I mean, my kids like it just because they've got some amenities at it that are over the top, but it's fun for the kids, you know. I don't think all of them are that way, but
Yeah.
I guess it's somewhat like, you know, a franchise. Not that
We've
I would
got
eat
them
it.
up here in Canada. That's why I noticed it. I'm like,
Oh, okay,
we used to
okay.
do that all the time as a kid. My parents would take us to KOA campgrounds, and
Oh,
we had a
neat.
tent trailer that we used to go, and it
Yeah,
was great because they had the pool, so you could go jump in the
right.
pool, and
Right, and they
yeah.
have this, like, massive inflated pillow thing. I mean, it's like 50 by 100. It's enormous, and the kids love jumping on that. And yes, those are non-metric measurements I just used. I'm sorry. So, I still use the imperial system, I guess. So,
I still do for most measuring. The only thing I don't is like kilometers. I'll use that, but feet, inches, yards. It
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But I did a bunch of architecture in high school,
Okay,
mechanical drafting as well. So everything was in imperial rather than
okay,
metric. So
okay. So it's
yeah,
not such a foreign language for you, right?
not at all, not at all. Yeah, you asked me how long a meter is, and I'm like, no idea. So
Like, hold
yeah,
on, Google will tell me.
yeah, exactly. Oh, caught my first fish at a KOA.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we
anyone up here in Canada that, kind of did some camping and all that has probably stayed at a KOA.
Yeah, they're pretty nice, man. I mean, I prefer, like, if we're gonna go, I just prefer kind of some boondocking, just wherever I can kind
Yep.
of find. Um, there's a balance there with the family, obviously. I don't want to take us out in the middle of nowhere and we, you know, every other person had the same idea and now it's, you know, 2 a.m. We still don't have a campground or camp
Oh,
spot.
exactly.
You know, so I love going to the national parks and finding places there. Some nice, I would prefer that. It's a little less touristy in the
Yep.
sense of, you know, it's not as built up, I guess. Um, yeah.
Harvey Black, welcome. Glad you could join us. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Howdy.
we've got like a lot of provincial parks up here where we can stay and camp. And I love doing that too because, you can book a spot in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's some that, you get the touristy kind where it's like people bring their tent trailers or that sort of thing where they stay. But you can
Right.
also book spots that are, you know, backing on to nothingness forever.
Yeah.
And they've got other ones where, you can hike in, other ones where you can paddle in. So it's always cool to be able to book some of those and just get away from it sometimes.
Do they call that Crown Land?
Yeah.
Crown?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
watch Camping with Steve. You ever watch that guy? He's a Canadian and he's always doing like these stealth camping things and
No,
going all over Canada. Yeah, Camping with Steve. Really funny channel. I like that guy.
damn. No. Yeah. Yeah. So I used to camp a lot, but now here, I find I don't want to leave. I don't need to go camping because, we've got the
Right.
property here, we've got the hot tub here, we've got the pool here. I'm like, "Nah,
You
I'm
got
not
it
going
all,
anywhere
man.
else." Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So no need to leave. So
You don't want to share that pool water with somebody else who's been in there anyhow.
yeah,
So
exactly. How big of a trout there? I love fly fishing. Redbird, are you asking myself or Josh? I don't know if you noticed, but right there's a
Oh
couple of
yeah,
my fly reels. My
nice.
my fly rods are above me here on the ceiling. I love fly fishing too, but the trout where I am in the rivers are about this big.
Hmm.
So I came here from Ontario and I was used to fishing for, you know, some good sized
Footish.
trout and some bass
Yeah.
and some pike and that. So we
Mm-hmm.
started fishing here and I caught one that was like, I want to say it was about this big, something. And as quick as I brought it in, I was like, oh, little guy. And I took him off the hook and threw him back. And Bridget was like, no, like that's an edible size here. That's like perfect for the pan. And I'm like, oh, that's like a little baby. Like, what are you talking about? That so from now on, I've like, trying to catch anything, and I haven't caught one that big again. I think I
Mm.
jinxed myself.
Yeah, we've got a neighbor. They're maybe a mile away. They've got a kind of a mountain fish hatchery up here, and they do trout, mainly trout. But thankfully, they're not feeding them like all the GMO
Okay,
feed and
yeah,
things like that. So pretty cool, man. We can kind of trade, and barter with them, and it's pretty nice.
nice, nice. That's cool. Oh, love camping with Steve. I'm
There
gonna
you
have to
go.
check that out.
Check
Yeah,
him out, man. He's a
yeah,
fun guy.
yeah.
He's as down to earth as they come.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
And he,
right
he
there.
really does have some good ideas though. Like if as not sarcastic as he's not sarcastic like that. I don't mean it that way, but
I'm
um
sarcastic. It's all good.
yeah. But I mean the way that he does stuff, it's like, okay, that's kind of silly or ridiculous. But at the same time, like if you're in a real bug out scenario or just trying to be prepared for things. I mean, he uses some off the wall stuff at times, and it's like, hey, yeah, even if you had that, you could probably pull off some kind of survival for the night if you had to.
Okay,
So,
neat.
not that he's not a survivalist at all. He just he just comes up with
Yeah,
random oddball ways
yeah.
to go
It's
camping.
like not those real homesteaders, eh? Like
Exactly, not those real homesteaders.
yeah. Homesteading is comfortable camping. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Wicked awesome gardening. Welcome. Glad you could join us. Ellie Dan, glad you could join us as well. Buy speckled trout and stock them. Nice. Our
Yeah, very
friend,
nice.
just on the other side of town, he actually has a pond with a river going through it, and he's kind of dammed it up a little bit, so it's created a bigger pond, and he stocks them with trout, and that's one of his ways of, again, providing more food for his family for the
Hmm.
winter. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
no,
So many benefits, there's a lot of benefits to having fish in your diet.
oh
Um,
yeah,
you know.
that's the one thing we need more of, and it's getting so expensive. It's crazy. So we've got
Mhm.
lots of meat, no problem with the meat, good amount of veggies, but yeah, I'd like to be able to somehow provide a lot more fish to my diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Did you get to meet Emma at Homesteaders America?
Yep, that's where we met.
Nice.
Yep.
That's awesome.
HOA.
That must have been a really fun, cool environment and setting, eh?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, it was certainly crowded. I didn't quite expect the sheer volume of people to be there, but yeah, it was really cool to see it just buzzing, especially in context of everything that's been going on the last couple
Yeah.
of years. It was
Yep.
just nice to see people being people. So that
Nice.
was that was really good. Got to see a lot of folks that show up here in the comments a lot on these videos and stuff. So it's pretty cool, man.
It's so great meeting people in person. I got to
Yeah.
meet Hickory Croft Farms, who's in here, and Me and You Acres is in here, and and it's so neat because, you know, you chat to them for so long on YouTube and then you meet them and it's almost like, you know, you've known each other forever kind of
Yeah.
thing. You just hit it off and instantly chat, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I think though that I tease them a little bit too much. So hopefully if they're listening, they realize that I'm just like teasing and joking, not actually being a dick.
It's just all good fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know if we got into enough of the like truck camping or anything. I know something, folks are actually curious about that
Yeah.
or looking into it. If you're wanting to get a whether you have a truck or an SUV, I mean, I've even seen them on cars.
Yeah.
These
I've
rooftop
seen
tents.
everything for kind of overlanding and
Yeah, I
off.
mean, it's
I want to say
so many
off-roading
options.
and bug out vehicles and, you
Right.
know, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
There's
General preparedness or whatever, but
yeah, exactly.
there's tons of options. I mean, it's easy to get hung up on how many options there are.
Yep.
Um, and I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessary. It's not needed. you know?
What so taking it back to that,
Yeah.
if you're getting a vehicle, say what say you have something four-wheel drive, can carry a bit of gear, what would be your first upgrade, say? Would you upgrade, make sure it's got good tires? Do you want to do the bumper?
Yeah.
Do you want to have good set of lights on it? You know, what would be your first kind of go-to upgrade for a vehicle for bugging out, preparedness, overlanding, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Or just around the farm up in the mountains, right?
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
um,
exactly.
I mean,
Don't
something
buy those crappy bush bar bumpers. If anyone's thinking about one
push
of
bar.
those, don't do it. Yeah.
Okay.
They're for
Okay.
brush.
For
Like
brush. Yeah.
brush, not trees, not moving round bales, not pushing other cars out of the way.
Right.
They're for brush.
Yeah, man, I tell you, something I want is I really want a winch on the front and on the rear
Yeah.
of my truck. Um, I waited for since 2020, and what I'd ordered never came in, so I just canceled the order.
Yeah.
But I was gonna have like a carriage of sorts that I could put in the front receiver on the truck or
Yep.
to the rear, because you just never know, right? I mean, whether you're around the homestead on the farm, or if you're out on some Forest Service road or wherever you might be, and you just don't know. You might be in a recovery situation for yourself where you have to
Yep.
winch out, or maybe you're trying to help somebody, or maybe you're trying to move something off the road that needs to be moved, a tree or something that was purposely put, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Telephone pole, whatever. You just want options, because sometimes it's not easy to maneuver a vehicle just so, right, to get the front of the vehicle. So
Yeah.
that's something I think that's really
So
important.
for
Some
anyone
kind of
listening
winch.
though, both of us have pickup trucks. And
Hmm.
what you're talking about is basically putting a trailer hitch on the front of your truck as well. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And there's like a basket that your winch essentially sits in that slips into that receiver. And so you could put it on the front or the rear of the truck. It's pretty heavy to carry all that, but
Yeah.
it's not like you're gonna be toting it around all the time. But yeah, having a good winch, and you can look up which winch is best for you. There was one, was it Buck Stop? I think that's the name of the bumper I was looking at recently. I think Bucks. I'd have to go back and find it, man. I'm sorry I didn't have that prep before I get
No
on here.
problem.
But they
Marilyn, good. Have a
say,
great night. Take care, eh? Thanks for dropping by.
yeah, they
So,
say that particular bumper can take like a hit with a deer at highway speeds,
okay, yeah.
and maybe not even damage it really. I don't know. I mean, I've seen guys show the results after hitting a deer, striking it at highway speeds, and it didn't look like it was all that messed up. So
I've seen some great
pretty wild.
bumpers, rear bumpers, front bumpers, guys who have like put some good mods on their vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
and had head-on collisions, T-bones,
Mm-hmm.
rollovers, and usually their vehicle comes out of it almost unscathed, depending
Yeah.
on what they've put on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you mentioned tires too. We just went with
Yep.
the Falcon Wild Peaks.
Okay.
I was, much deliberation there. I almost got the KO2s, which are real popular for SUVs and trucks.
Which I'm running. Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually had a pair or a set ordered, and I just kept getting a lot of guys cautioning me, saying for my truck that they would, they strongly encouraged me to look at the Wild Peaks, and I don't
Okay.
know, a few things that I saw, and I was like, well, I'll go with those this time. I don't have enough mileage or anything on them to really give you any feedback other than the pretty deep snowstorms. We've had 8 to 15 inches here lately. They've done great. They've done great in that.
Do you switch from winter to summer, or do you keep yours year round?
No, I'm going to keep an all terrain on there
Okay.
pretty much year round. Yeah.
Okay.
Mud tires. I don't think that they're necessary.
Yeah.
Not for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Especially when we're hauling livestock or going down the interstate. I don't necessarily want mud tires on my
No,
truck.
exactly. Get too
You know.
much road noise, you're wasting too much gas. And I
Yep.
think again, you're not trying to throw up mud. You're not trying to get out of swamps, and
No.
you're not going to go where you're going to break your vehicle. You just want a little bit of extra traction here and there when you need it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the what we found with the KO2 is I want to say it was 6 or 8 ply, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
We wore through them really fast.
Yeah.
Whereas now I've got the 10 ply on and it's lasting a lot longer. But I also switch mine out. So I run snow tires in the winter and then my KO2s in the summer. And
Okay.
I find that really extends the length of the tire itself.
No, that's smart. That's really
Yeah.
smart. And if you look at your tires on the side, they'll have the snow peak rating, if they're rated for snow.
Yep. Even if they're rated for snow, like the KO2s are horrible up here in the winter. Like if you're going,
that's what I've heard about them.
Deep snow,
yeah,
not really an issue. You're gonna do okay. But if it's not deep snow, if you got ice or a bit of snow or anything like that, you're all over the place. It's brutal.
Well, that's I kept getting that feedback right there, and I was like, okay, maybe I don't want these. And it seemed like the Wild Peaks, and again, just from my brief experience with them, they've done good. I had a pair of Hercules.
Okay,
before this. Man, I don't know. I've heard good things. A lot of guys around here, a lot of bear dog hunters, will run them on their pickups. But again, those are lightweight trucks, and I burnt through a set. I didn't even have 18,000 miles on it, and they were down to the wear bars.
Jeez.
So
ouch.
So no good, man. But yeah, I'd say a good set of tires. If we're talking SUVs and pickup trucks, at the very least, I'd say some all terrains make sense to me. Because you just don't know where you're going to be.
Just want to quickly say, Sissaboo Acres, if you're still here, thanks for hanging out and dropping by, and have a great night. Who else was I going to mention? Rens. A big deer guard, front and rear bumpers from Iron Bull. I've heard good reviews from Iron Bull.
I have too.
The only negative I heard is they might rust a bit early. So but I think that goes with any bumper like that. You're going to get that. So yeah. Creative redundancy. I don't know if I welcomed you, but thanks for dropping by. Really appreciate that. So one of the things we're talking about is the tires. And I think, like I said in my one video, is to me, tires are so important because it's what connects you to the road.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen too many people buy bald tires or use tires from a garage, and they rotate it because they can't afford for good tires. But to me, that's the worst thing you can do. Like, do whatever you can to save up for at least a half decent set of new tires so you're connected to the road.
Yeah, man, I 100% echo that, because I've done that in the past, where it was just broke at the time,
Yeah.
and you did what you had to do, but it always it always ends up coming back more expensive, it seems like,
Right.
in the end. Or you just get in a bind, you just get in a position. It's like, man, wish I'd gotten all tires, at the same time
Yeah.
replaced. I think it's just a smarter move.
Yeah.
Don't skimp on your tires.
No, that's just it. That's just it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I
Yeah.
had 2 Rams over the years, 2 Ram pickup trucks, so I get it.
Yeah. My GMC is starting to get some gone over the wheel wells and the sides of the doors. But I don't want to give my truck up. I don't want a new truck. I'm either dead set on either fixing it
Yep.
somehow, or I might go older truck because
Yeah, that's
all
what I've
those
been thinking, man.
all those new
Less
bells and
parts.
whistles are like,
Yep.
you
Yeah, that's the
running.
thing. There's more computer under the hood than there is engine, or truck. It's I mean, I get it. I get why they're doing it. Um, it's tough to work on.
Yeah.
It's tough to work
I
on.
don't know if when you travel and stuff you get rentals, but I've had a bunch of rentals and I end up more tired driving the rentals because I'm fighting them. It's trying to
Yeah.
push me back in the lane when I'm doing a lane change, or I set it on cruise control and I come up behind a vehicle and it slows me down. And I'm like
Yeah.
wondering why I'm not passing them, even though I was catching up to them so fast. It's like
Right.
that kind of stuff just annoys the hell out of me. It wears me out. And
Yep.
I'm thinking, like, I love my truck because if I set it on cruise, it stays at that speed. It doesn't
Right.
adjust its speed. So,
Right.
you're driving on the highway and someone's passing you, and then you're passing them. Someone's passing you and It's like,
Yeah. It drives
ah,
me crazy.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So,
Yeah, man. I mean, I get it. I get why, like Elon Musk has his cyber truck coming out, and that's like all the rave for some people. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess it looks like something out of Star Wars or whatever, but I'd rather go back in the other direction
yeah,
and
yeah,
restore
I hear
something,
you.
man.
The only problem I found is, if you get too old, all of them are single cab. There's no crew cab. There's no,
Mm-mm.
you know, you're
Right.
sitting 2 or 3 people. There's no fitting 6 in there.
Right. Right. Yeah. I guess folks just weren't trying to squeeze their whole families in those things back in the day. I don't know.
No,
Uh,
I just think, once you get to a certain point, it was okay for the rest of the family to be in the bed of the truck.
that's right. Nowadays they'll, give you a ticket for that kind of stuff in some places. So
Exactly. Yeah,
we've gotten soft.
we have. Yep. Ah, they're taking away everything from us.
Don't get me started. We'll both lose our channels.
But touching on that, I think, you know, ah, you're right though. I want to get into it, but I'm like, how deep do you want to go into that kind of thing? It's For me, there is too much government regulation on everything.
Yeah.
Um, and I get arguing impending doom. Exactly.
Doom.
Yeah. So For me, I get into, I don't know if you have family that are the same as mine, but my brother's a commie. So
Hmm.
he lives in the big city. He doesn't have a car. He takes public transit. He went to university. I never got educated. I
Hmm.
wanted to do the military and I didn't do that. I went
Yeah.
did other stuff. But, for me, if I get into stuff and say the government is taxing us too much, we're too overregulated. It's just, he goes, "What, you want anarchy?" I'm like, you
Yeah.
had to go there. It's like, really? Really? Is there not an in between where we can
Right.
start with taking tax off of plants and seeds?
Mm.
Up here where it's like everyone everywhere is going green. Everyone wants to get greener, but we have to pay tax on seeds and plants. How does that make sense?
Yeah, and it doesn't.
No.
um, not in my view of things. So that's why I think getting creative to opt out of their system as much as possible. I think that's why, like even the um, the reasoning I think behind cryptocurrency, as it was originally kind of developed, it was to decentralize. Is to get away from uh, centralizing control over the closest thing we have, our resources, our finances, our labor, basically.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, man, not a lot of room for that in my view, but it seems like there's a very large segment of people that, man, I don't know, they just can't exist without it. It's like a drug to them, you know.
I was reading one. I want to kind of I'm seeing this. Yeah. Haven't mentioned the beaver yet. I don't know if you saw that one, Josh, but
You might have to fill
basically,
me in.
yeah, like again, with I want to do this, I want to do that. So, okay, let's go with the beaver story. So, everyone loves this one. So, when I first met Bridget, her family hunted, trapped. They they made a lot of their living doing that kind of stuff, doing a lot of trapping. Um, they put a lot of food away um, with what they caught. So she grew up um, knowing lynxes, eating all that kind of stuff, right? So when we first met, she was like, you know, have you ever tried beaver? And to me, it was immediately, it was like, my mind went into the gutter and I'm like, you know, if you're asking me if it's going to be, you know, a good relationship, sure. Yeah, no problem. And so then she was like, no, like, have you ever eaten beaver? And I'm like, no, I haven't. So it's been an ongoing joke for us forever about her trying to make me eat beaver. And we've even done stuff where, we were staying down at in the city at a hotel, and we stopped at a convenience store and picked up some barbecue sauce. And we got a picture of me squirting the barbecue sauce into the tub and saying, well, tonight I'm having beaver. I'm getting it all marinated and that kind of thing. So finally, it was a couple months ago. She went down to Montreal and we took our Highland cow hide to be tanned. So when she went back to pick it up, I think it was when she went back to pick it up, she was mentioning the beaver and, the whole story about I've never eaten beaver before. And the guy actually had a freezer there with a bunch of beaver meat. So he gave her some beaver meat and brought it home. And so I finally got to eat beaver. So
Yes.
it's been this whole sort of thing. And I've mentioned it on a few lives. And I did the video where, the whole thing was kind of Bridget going into town, getting the hide, seeing this tanning facility, and then eating beaver at the end of it. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah, yeah. So now it's like everyone's onto it now. So, That's so good. I think I missed a bunch of comments here, but
yeah, I think they wanted the beaver story.
yeah, yep. Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's, once they start getting into the green stuff, I'm like, you know what? I've seen the oil fields in Alberta, and once they're done with the oil, there's bison on it and moose on it, and people are camping on them. And I look at, the mines in Africa where they're pulling out these precious metals for the new batteries and the windmills and the electric cars, and I'm just like,
yeah, yep. It's interesting. I'm sure you've seen that meme. And it's got like some smog infested city, and it's like, I'm tired of being told by people who live here that I'm doing something wrong with the environment by living here, something like that, and it shows like a pasture and it's just all green fields and stuff. So
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
I think my cow farts are gonna be okay, man. I don't think they're gonna.
I love saying that. I'm like, I'd rather spend a week in my garage with my cows than one night with my truck running. Like,
yeah.
All the libertarians are poking their heads out of the bunkers. Yeah. I don't know if you'd call yourself a libertarian, or I'd say kind of tend that way, but I think some of that stuff gets a little, like, when they're talking about defunding military and other stuff, I think for myself, I have a hard problem with that because I see so much benefit with the military, not only in domestic search and rescue and stuff like that, but there are nations that are aggressors and smaller nations. Like, there's been so many genocides around the world where people have just stood back and nations have just stood back. So for me, it's like, okay, don't cry to me about that stuff happening, and then at the same time say you don't want to fund the military or don't want to, so
yeah, we're in a messy spot. Yeah, we're in a real messy spot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things, so many dominoes that have fallen throughout history that have led to where we are.
Yeah.
And it's hard to untangle all that, I don't really enjoy any of the so-called options we have here in the States personally. Whether it's any of the major quote parties or even the Libertarian Party, like I don't think any of those fit where I align, but again, I don't have a time machine. I can't go back and change how the dominoes have fallen to get us into the mess that we're in so many different ways.
Yeah.
We probably don't have the time, or I don't know if folks even have the interest in it. but I the closest thing, man, that I could say that the positions that I would hold, they kind of even predate our United States Constitution, in that if you look, they got labeled the anti-federalist or the anti-federalist, even though they were much more federalist than even the Federalists were, who wrote the Federalist Papers. But if you go back and you read some of the anti-federalist positions of men like Patrick Henry and some of those early Virginia statesmen, they're profound, and many of the things that they say in there, you would say, wow, that was like prophetic, now seeing how things have transpired over the many long decades. So, that's probably more closely aligned with, I guess, my own positions. But if you were to look at somebody and say, yeah, I'm an anti-federalist Jeffersonian, they'd be like, what did you just say, man?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So
Um,
how do you feel about Medicare in the
yeah,
military? Like,
exactly. It's like,
Where
never mind.
yeah,
Pass the
yeah.
bourbon.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, it's crazy to think about some of that kind of stuff, and,
Yeah.
um, it just, you know, again, to me, we gotta start somewhere
Mhm.
where, if we take a position of, you know, this is where I am, this is what we need to do. Okay,
Mhm.
that's a huge step. So why don't we just start somewhere and start chipping away at some stuff that we can change that's better for everybody, gets, you know, gives us a little more freedom, takes a little less tax out of our pockets, and, starts going back the right way.
Yeah. Well, I think this lifestyle that probably many of us, either watching or like you and
Yep.
I are doing actively, the more skills that you can build in for yourself and your life, or find a community of people, that you can be a part of. Maybe you're not a blacksmith, or maybe you're not a this or that, or don't have these skills, but you have some other thing that you do that you could offer, and you're in that community, whether that's just even just your time being a part of it. Um, I think that's pretty important. Thinking locally, acting
Yeah.
locally. I
Yep.
mean, that's as cliche as that sounds.
For me,
Think
that's
local, act local.
huge,
Yeah,
especially
man.
right now when they talk about, supply chain issues and that kind of stuff. Like,
Right.
I kind of think, I've got my own supply chain right in my backyard. So it's
Yeah.
like, to me, uh, there's people who say, oh, we got to fix the global system. We got to be more intertwined with everybody. And I'm thinking, no, we need to be more intertwined with our own little community to be able
Yeah.
to help each other out, to be able to grow better, to be able to trade and, you know, work
Yeah.
stuff out between ourselves and help each other out. Getting to this global market is like crazy. The fact that,
Yeah.
you know, um, take for example lumber, where Canada ships our lumber to China and then ships it back as a different product, and like it just, there's so much production and waste and
Oh
time
yeah.
and money going into that that it just,
Oh
you know
yeah. It's like when they I can't remember. It's been in the last couple of years. I think I saw an article, and they were talking about now from the U.S. I guess they're going to be shipping. Was it poultry or something? They're shipping it for processing over to China and bringing it back. I was
right.
like, you
That's
got to be
just,
kidding me! Like that's somehow more cost effective, or that's a better model, than um, sourcing it locally. I don't know.
yeah.
I just see some bizarre realities there, man.
Yep. Oh, exactly. I think
But
we've,
it's all propped up, man. I don't think that that's truly actually a better system. It's just
no.
propped up
Oh no.
by some
Yeah.
big money players.
To me, I think like a lot of those corporations are like, oh, well, we bring in some more regulations, it's just going to help us.
Yeah,
So,
more
oh yeah,
barriers to entry for
these
other people.
guys with their backyard chickens, they're spreading disease. So we need them to have like foot wash stations and,
Yeah,
um, debugging stuff and proper ventilation. And we need to inspect them and then the little guys priced out of the game.
right,
Yeah.
right, entirely.
Yeah.
Yep, more bureaucracy.
Exactly. Exactly. Ah,
Yes, sir. My
yeah,
thoughts and feelings exactly.
exactly. I'm pretty sure almost everyone that does what we do kind of feels that though. It's,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why we do what we do.
Yeah, we're kind of like a community that self-selects for more of that type of person, you know,
Yeah.
for sure. Now, hey, I have seen some. Well, I'll just leave it at that. But man, I've seen some people. I'm like, wait, you're in a homesteading group, and you don't. Well, I'm not going to go down the list, but man, it's just like,
By all
why are
means,
you
do it.
here?
Yeah.
Why are you even here? If you think breeding and butchering your own animals is somehow unethical, and you think using a firearm is somehow morally reprehensible, and if just on down the list, it's just like some of these are like the core tenets of what it is. And again, I'm not the keeper of the word homesteading, as I've established previously, but I mean, some of these are like core tenets, of what homesteading is or was or has been. So I don't know, but there are a few of those folks out there lurking.
Yeah.
Um,
You watch Steve Ranella? Steve Ranella? The meat eater?
Steve Ranella, the
He does
meat
that
eater. Is that
the
a
meat
doc?
eater hunting show.
Oh yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
So there was always this one discussion he had. I think he was at I don't know whether it was a book signing or an interview or something like that, where the crowd started asking him questions, and he's like, I'd rather have a discussion with a hardcore vegan than you know someone who eats meat but is against hunting. It's one of those, like, how do you
yeah,
line your values up where a
yeah,
vegan you know isn't harvesting animals, isn't hurting animals, that sort of thing. Sure, I don't know whether they're doing it for health reasons or morale reasons or that sort of thing, but then you get someone who eats meat but has a problem with hunting or someone killing an animal. Well, how do you justify that morally?
yeah. We see this bull skull back here behind me. Um, just the other day, I went into a hardware store. I was just trying to find a hanger, a bracket, or something to get it up on the wall, and I don't even know what prompted the lady to ask me. She was probably, I'd say, probably pushing her, early 60s. So what are you going to be hanging with this hook? I mean, I guess maybe it was kind of weird to buy one little hanger hook. And I told her I was hanging a bull skull with it. And she just looked at me like, "You're what?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was a bull that we had raised or and butchered." And she's like, "How could you kill your baby?" My baby? I was like, and I just asked her, I was like, are you vegan or something? Like, and then this was the bizarre thing. She's like, "Oh no, I love my steaks." And I asked her, I was like, "Well, where do you think steak comes from?"
Grocery store.
And just blank stare. But it was ironic though too, because in line there was a lady who self-identified as a Black vegan woman, and she said, "Well, yeah, I support folks like you," meaning me, who raise your own meat to eat versus like the feedlot system and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
thousands
just
and thousands of animals
yeah,
going
exactly.
through a system.
CAFOs, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's
exactly.
just interesting getting the response that folks, just I guess how detached they are, because this lady was not a vegan. She was just like, "How do you kill your baby?" Like,
Yeah,
it's a bull, not a baby.
yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
that is
and I
that is
think that was kind
crazy.
of his point is, you talk to some people where um, they've gone to become a vegan for morality reasons. They don't want to um, support kind of that feedlot, thousand cows going through the system, but
Yeah,
you know, you doing it yourself and you raising your own animals, I find a lot of them okay with. So
yeah,
you get the other ones where it's like, you can't put your dog on a leash because it's cruelty. That's a
right.
little way off in left field, but you always get those. But
Yeah,
AZ
yeah.
Highland Homestead, thanks for joining us. Arc Wildman Survival. Who else came in? Homestead Fresh. Who else? I thought I saw someone else. If I missed you guys, I apologize.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Intellectual honesty. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Just be consistent. If I mean, I don't care if you're vegan, just be consistent.
Oh, exactly. I don't care what you do, what you eat, who
Yeah.
you love,
Your
um,
life.
who you worship, anything like that. It's your life. Um,
Yep.
as long as you're not harming an innocent person, have at
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
But yeah, try to be consistent.
Yeah. Just try a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, you know. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's and I want to be careful with this one. Because I think we've had that discussion before Hickory Croft where, you know, we I find that some people will talk about commercial farms, whereas my aunt and uncle have a commercial dairy farm. The reason they're commercial is because the only way they can afford to pass it on to their kids, my cousins, is to set it up as an incorporated company and do shares. Otherwise, the government will tax them too much on the property and the equipment and everything else changing hands.
Yeah.
So when some people say, commercial farms, you you got to kind of define that sort of thing. But I think what we all agree with is, we don't like those massive, you know, the animals are all jammed into small pens or don't have enough feed, aren't really as free range as they could be, that sort of thing. We want the people who own them and who look after them to care about them and not just view them as, you know, the dollar sign kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's tough. Again, it goes back to the thing we were saying earlier. Just so many dominoes have fallen throughout time to get us in these positions we're in, where you've got corporations that are literally the size. I mean, their revenues are the size of small nations,
Yeah.
and just the perversion of power and corruption that is obvious. I mean, you'd have to be very naive to think that it doesn't take place and go on between big corporations and big government.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that makes those scenarios that I think most of us just kind of bristle at, because it is unnatural. It is. It's just out of scale. It's just
That's
it's
just it.
not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's like this right
so
here.
yeah,
The small family farms like that are one thing. I'm talking about large scale factory farming. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
that sort of thing where you're,
yeah. It's crazy, man. I mean, I get it. Folks
yeah,
folks want to make a living. The old mom and pops dairies and stuff. I know, like the valley that we live in, I think one of the last small dairies recently, had to close down during this whole, craziness we've all been through. I think he was trying to convert over more to like a beef operation or something, doing stockers, but gone are those days, right? The regulations and different things on, especially dairy and others. It's sad, It's just sad that that's the way of things.
it's crazy because I look at it where we are with, our Highland cows, and we can't grow there. We can't afford to grow because if we grow, we'll get into that kind of medium size or get a bit bigger, and then suddenly government smacks us back down and says, okay, now
Yeah.
you have to set up this, now you have to set up this, now we're going to come and inspect you, you're going to have to do this and this and this. It's like, you know there's no in between. You either have to
Right.
be small and be under, I want to say under the radar, but
I get you.
not go commercial size, or kind of go for it and go all out. There doesn't seem to be that in between anymore where, you can have a local dairy farmer provide milk to the village. It
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. See, Hickory Crofts there said the meat cartels go so much beyond any one country. That's the truth.
yeah. You look into it and like, what was it, Canada and the US, they were talking about helping set up like new processing facilities because it was only owned by 3 companies or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, that's the illusion. You go into any major grocery store, at least here in the States, and you would think that there's just thousands of different, companies and farms and stuff, but it's actually I think it's less than a dozen own them
yeah,
all.
yeah,
There's
exactly.
40,000 products in there and they're owned by, 6 different companies, if that.
Yeah.
So
That's just it.
Well, man, I don't want to harp and bemoan everything. On the one hand, that's, I guess, the challenge we face, right? But
Yeah.
we if we don't add a little salt and add a little light, I guess things will always be dark. So if not
Yeah.
us, I don't know, maybe someone else, but
But I think what I see a lot of people doing, like yourself and others, is just amazing. To me, it's inspiring that there's so many more people who are opting for this lifestyle, who are getting into providing for themselves and, just going in this direction sort of thing.
Right. Yep, divorcing as much as you can from the system.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
as peacefully as you can.
Yeah. That's just it.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
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 When we started our homestead, that's, many years ago, we were kind of thinking along those lines of the, small family farm. Again, think Joel Salatin,
Yep.
And we did that, man. We ran ourselves into the ground. we had our little toddler, our firstborn son. He wasn't even quite 1, 2, and then eventually another baby in tow. And it's a lot to raise. Like I said, thousands of meat birds, several hundred laying hens. You're raising, dozens head of cattle and forested raised pork, and you're doing all this stuff. And at the end of the day, I mean, man, it was it was good hard work. But like I just said there, that comment about finding that middle ground, I think what appeals mostly to myself and my wife is more of the lifestyle of being out in the country and being able to learn the skills and some of the knowledge of our ancestors and stuff, and be able to do more for ourselves. But it is tough if you're going to try to actually make a living doing this. I mean,
Yeah.
things have changed so much. Well, like you just said, I don't know. I don't know if you could just solely. I mean, there's just so many enterprises, and I think that's what we did too. I mean, even with the sawmill and just all the different little enterprises we had going on, trying to make a go of it.
Yeah.
But that's why around 2016 I kind of shut a lot of it down for the commercial production side of things, and we're just going to homestead. We're just going to raise our family here.
Just do it. Yeah.
Yep. Slow things
Nice.
down a little bit with the whole production thing, and yeah. So
wicked awesome.
But it is
gardening.
crazy.
Have a great night, eh?
But it's crazy that a man or woman couldn't work 40 to 80 hours a week on their own land and work hard and produce things and can't make a living doing that,
That's crazy, eh? That
It is.
To have a couple or a family on a homestead to work that homestead, you would think, you should be able to provide a living, and the chances of that are slim to none in this day and age.
Yeah.
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 Oh, here's a rabbit hole question for you. It's interesting. I won't say who, because but I had a big discussion with someone, and it was about kind of the freedoms and the losses of such. And again, they took the argument to the extreme where it was like, oh well, Anne Frank spent 2 years in this sort of thing hiding. And I'm like, seriously, do we have to compare what we have now to some of the worst times in history to be thankful for what we have? I'm thankful for what we have without comparing it, but that doesn't mean we can't do better. I think we all want to do better. So why do we have to compare? Why do we have to say, we should be happy now because this is the way it was? Why can't we say, I'm happy now, but let's do better?
Right. Yeah. Why can't we continue to, build on things?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm with you in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we don't. Everything, I believe, has to be pasteurized. A lot of the provinces to have laws on pasteurized cheese, except here in Quebec, we can actually have unpasteurized cheese, but we have to have pasteurized milk.
Yeah. Can you do like, I know we do herd shares in a lot of states here as a workaround. So you actually own part of the herd. It's not, you're not so much buying the end product, the milk. You own the herd, and here's just some of the,
Here's
what the herd did this week, right? So
I don't know if we can do that or not. I would assume so, but yeah.
Well, all I'll say is, like I said, we still get corn in jars down here, and
Dude,
there's been a time, where those blockade runners, well, I'll just leave it at that. But I'm not going to compare raw milk to Mountain Lightning, but
it's so much nicer though than store bought, just like everything else.
It is.
We yeah, especially so we do like drinkable molasses and brown sugar, and that's kind of my go-to. But I've tried to do the corn and potatoes and that kind of thing, and just didn't turn out the same. So I find the molasses and brown sugar is much easier for myself to do.
Yeah. We speaking of molasses, we do we grow and do like sorghum molasses.
Okay. Yep.
And it's usually about every October or so. The crop's ready, and we'll harvest it.
Nice.
Like a corn knife type of deal, and send it through a grinder that's stamped, I think 1868 or something like that.
Yeah.
You used to have a mule that would walk in a circle to spin the PTO, I guess, and now we just use a PTO drive on an old John Deere. But yeah, make molasses, man. Sorghum molasses.
Nice.
It's good
That's
stuff.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
if it pleases the queen.
Yeah. Oh, they have unpasteurized cheese in Ontario now? Oh, wow. Okay. Things have changed a little bit. Creative Redundancy, take care. Glad you could join us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess we'll, what is it, about 10 o'clock here, my time? What time you
Yeah.
got there, Darren?
Same as you. Same as you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Cool.
I think we might as well call it. And
All right, man.
it's
Sounds
past my
good.
bedtime, so I don't know what time you usually go to bed, but
Yeah, man. I mean, it depends. Probably about now or 11. I
yeah.
might go watch an old Bonanza episode. I've been
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
watching those, kick back, and yeah, man, I like some old westerns. So
Man, one of my favorite I always loved watching was High Noon.
oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
nice,
High Noon, Magnificent Seven. Yeah,
okay,
my dad was a big Western fan, so I'd always love Friday nights or Saturday nights. I could get some munchies and curl up on
heck
the couch
yeah,
with them and watch some Westerns. It's
heck
just
yeah.
so great.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it's classic television. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I f- I love those movies because there's no politics in them. There's an
Nah,
amazing storyline.
yep,
You got good scenery. It's just they don't try to baffle you with CGI or anything else. It's just like,
no, no.
yeah, just yeah.
Kind of like our pickup trucks we want, right? Just
Exactly. Yeah.
plain, simple, and it works.
Old school, but seat 6.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Man,
Outlaw Josie Wales. That's another good one. Yeah.
yeah, Josie Wales.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, here's one.
Do I have any videos for recipes for using sorghum syrup? For using it, I mean, man, we put it on biscuits and pancakes, and what else does she? I mean, she uses it in a number of different things. I don't think we have any videos on it. I'm sorry. I do have a video though where we kind of go through the process, harvesting the sorghum and running it through the mill and that type of thing. That would be one of my earlier videos I did on the channel about a year or so back. But yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I could do a little playlist or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's funny talking about the white lightning and stuff. And I was getting into it and I was like, well, I really want to check out what the laws are in Canada and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest thing is, in all the time that it's been illegal, only 2 people have ever been charged in Canada. So
Mm.
one guy blew up his house and 3 people were injured when he was doing it in his basement or up in a bedroom or something like that. And then the second guy that was ever charged with it was selling it out of his basement window to school kids. And I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man. Well,
So
he probably deserved what he had coming.
I think so. Yeah. Doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. So,
Oh gosh.
but yeah, man, I think we'll call it a night. And
All
I
right, man.
really appreciate you taking the time out and joining me here
Yeah,
tonight.
man. Yeah, it was good, man. Just to chat and
Yeah.
shoot the bull.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate y'all. Have a great evening.
Yeah. And if you haven't checked out Mountain Roots, get over there and check them out.
Appreciate it.
Sounds good. So y'all take care and we'll see you soon. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.